Hello, my name is Dave Mendlen, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at DevExpress. This is a very special day for everyone here, and one that I've been looking forward to since we first announced DX2. DX2 is our next generation of software tools designed to bridge the gap between today's tools and tomorrow's investments. It's not a single release. Instead, it's a generation of tools evolving over time to solve the complex challenges facing developers. You, our customers, rely on these tools to create stunning new user experiences, to deliver support for natural user interfaces like touch, and to create visually stunning experiences across all platforms and technologies. It's the idea of helping Visual Studio developers bridge forward to the next technology that we really get excited about at DevExpress. And we've already begun bridging forward. With our DXperience 12.1 release, we showed you how to use your existing ASP.NET skills to create vibrant iOS applications like our touchboard demo shown here. Well, today is another very exciting day for us. We're announcing 3 revolutionary products and an incredible thank you for our customers. So let's get right to it. The first product is a tool for creating hybrid iPhone, iPad, and Android applications. The second is a revolutionary way to build Windows 8 applications. And the third is a breakthrough in targeting the web. So 3 things: a hybrid iOS and Android tool, a revolutionary Windows 8 tool, and a breakthrough in targeting the web. iOS and Android, Windows 8, and the web. Are you getting it? These aren't 3 separate tools. It's one integrated, incredible tool that's codenamed DXtreme. Today, DevExpress is reinventing developer productivity. Now I want to talk a little bit about why we're doing this. One of the biggest challenges facing Visual Studio developers today is that suddenly Microsoft platforms aren't the only technologies that are out there. The rise of BYOD, or bring your own device, into the workplace has created the need to build applications that run on hardware beyond traditional desktops and laptops. Today, there are more than 400 million Android devices activated. By the end of next year, the iPad will make up 1/3 of the enterprise notebook market. The iPhone, something that didn't even exist 5 years ago, has higher sales than everything Microsoft has to offer. More than Windows, Office, Xbox, Bing, everything. In the quarter that ended March 31st, 2012, iPhone had sales of $22.7 billion. Microsoft, $17.4 billion. And while all of that was happening, customers are still using the web, and Microsoft wasn't sitting still. They responded with their own touch-based operating system and hardware with Windows 8 and the Microsoft Surface. So if you want to build an enterprise application today, all you have to do is build your Android application in Java, your iPad and iPhone application in Xcode and Objective-C, your web application in Dreamweaver, and your Windows 8 application in Visual Studio. Sounds like a piece of cake, right? No, not really. This is where DXtreme comes into play. It's a leapfrog product that integrates all of these platforms, and it's super easy to use. We know that applications need to span across all of these devices, so we're focusing on the idea of multi-channel applications. And what that means is we're enabling developers to write applications that optimize the best of each platform, using one integrated application that spans all the platforms. So let's look at an example of what we see as a pretty typical multi-channel application. I'm going to walk through a multi-channel application built with DXtreme and then show you how we built it. So let's head back to my office and let's get started. So in this example, I'm sitting in front of my Windows 8 desktop, and I noticed that one of the live tiles for an application I've downloaded is telling me there's a really good deal on trips to New York City. And I have always wanted to go to New York City on vacation. Now what's great about Windows 8 is it has this amazing ability to reach down into an application and put the most important information in front of the user on the tile. This changes your desktop from a static application launcher to a digital dashboard. So let's go ahead and click into it. And as you can see, we're doing a live web service call. And we're pulling back a list of flights to help me determine which one's going to work best for me. Here is a great example of a multi-channel experience. I can pick up my process from where I left off. In this case, now I'm on the web. Okay, here we see a pretty typical e-commerce web application, and you can see we've got some great HTML5. I'm going to type in Seattle, and pick Seattle Tacoma. I'm going to pick my departure date of the 12th, and we're going to New York City. And so now we're going to search, and in this case we're actually searching a live API that reaches out across the web and returns real flights. And so I can filter down the list of results by cost, by airline, and find exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this one. And as you can see, we can now ultimately make a purchase, which is what we'll do here. So we've actually wired this up to a live actual flight booking system. The web is the place where people are most comfortable doing things like e-commerce, making purchases of goods and services. And so here's an example of how we're using the web and HTML5 to build a great experience. And this will actually ultimately click through to American Airlines, and if I want, I can actually book. Now, imagine that I'm at home, on the couch, later that night, watching TV, and it occurs to me that I want to invite a friend along on the trip. So I'll pick up my iPad, click on the DX Travel application. This version of the application, of course, knows that I have an upcoming trip to New York, and so I'll click on that. And you can see an overview of the trip. It shows me the travelers on the right. It shows that I'm the only one right now. I'm the only traveler. It also shows my flights, my activities, anything I've planned, as well as any relevant maps of the city. Now I'd like to invite my friends to join me on this trip, so I'll click on the Travelers button and then add a new traveler. And we'll go out and make a Facebook API request and show all my Facebook friends. And I'll just click on one of them and invite that traveler. He'll automatically get my itinerary, including my flights and hotels, and he's now listed as a pending traveler for my trip. I'll go add one more. All right, so now let's plan something fun we can do together while we're in New York. So I'll click on Schedule, and then click the plus sign to add something to the schedule. I desperately want to see a Broadway show when I'm there, so I'll click on Jersey Boys, and I got to pick my time. So we'll pick a date and a time. And then send that off to the group. And you can see that that shows up in my list. I'll add one more. We'll go look at the Manhattan Skyline. Again, I'll choose a date for that and my time. And we'll send that to the group. And my itinerary is complete. The iPad is a great device for research and collaboration, and as you can see, we're really able to take advantage of that. Okay, let's imagine that it's the day of the vacation and I'm at the airport. And I've got my iPhone with me. And that means I can check in directly at the gate with my electronic ticket. So let me launch the application. And here you can see an overview of my trips. And we'll look at this list of trips later. We're going to build this later in the application. I'm going to click on New York. You can see my itinerary here, and I will select my Seattle to JFK itinerary, click on the confirmation code, and you can see that I get a QR code to check in. And when I land in New York City, I can actually look at a map that shows me how to get to my hotel. And all of my confirmation numbers and all of my contact information is always with me. And that's the great thing about using your iPhone. It provides information at your fingertips right when you need it. Now let's break this down. In this multi-channel application, we took advantage of live tiles in Windows 8 to provide real-time insights that help the end user know when it's time to take action. We used HTML5 in our web application to provide beauty and interactivity to our web experience. We took advantage of social media integration to enable collaboration on the iPad. And finally, we leveraged the power of the iPhone, including sensors, to provide mapping functionality. And that's what DXtreme is really all about. Enabling Visual Studio developers to build solutions that span these platforms and take advantage of what's best about each one. Let's take a look at how easy it is to build this kind of application with DXtreme. All right, first step, we've got to install the bits, so let's do that first. And it's a very quick installation, it's done. So now I'll launch Visual Studio. And I've been working on a demo solution, a pretty typical multi-channel application. We'll look at the second application in a little bit, but first let's add a new project to this solution. And it's a DXtreme application project, and I'll call it DXtreme. As you can see, we have a wizard that helps you target the platform you're looking for. So if you're building for HTML5 on the web, you have that option. Mobile solutions like Android, iPhone, and iPad, or for building Windows 8 JavaScript applications. So let's pick mobile. And here we can change the layout and configuration of the application. I'll leave the defaults. And we'll set that project as my startup project. And we're going to build the list of trips into the iPhone application. So I'll go ahead and get rid of the default text here that says welcome to DXtreme. The first step is to engage the database. So I'm going to change sample data to my trips, and we'll change the sample data.json to a file called trips.json. And let's add that file to the solution. So I have that stashed away. And this is what's in that file. It's got a globally unique ID, a destination, the location that you're traveling to, a start date, the end date of the trip. So now that we've got this wired up with the database, let's go into, save that, I'll go into the views of the application. We'll take a look at the code behind the index.js file for that page we were just looking at. As you can see, we have a variable we've created called trips, and it's wired up to that my trips field that you just saw. So I'll save and close that. Now you're looking at this design surface, and as you can see on the left, you have a visual design of what the page will look like. On the right, the HTML that is created. I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop a list box from the design surface on, and we can set the property of that list box to the trips field, the trips field I just created. And now it's bound up. So our list box now has data binding. I need to change title to the field called destination. And we should be ready to go. Let's go ahead and save this. I'll close it, and let's run it. As you can see, we very quickly were able to bring data into the application. And what you're looking at here is an emulator. This page shows what your application will look like. It's got the iPhone Chrome around it. And if we were to choose a different device, like the iPad, you can see what it would look like on that device or on an Android phone. or even on an Android tablet. So you get a sense for what the application, how it will look with your application. And you can rotate it so you can see what the application looks like in both horizontal and vertical modes. So a great way to test your application. You can look at it across a collection of different devices. Let's take this to the next step. Let's make it even prettier than it is now. So I want to add a new image to that list. I'm going to add a new folder where I keep my images. And I'll add an existing graphic. This flight image here, I'll add that to the list. And what I'm going to do is I want to show that graphic in line with my data. And so what I'll do is I'll simply change this and you can see I've added the flight ping file, but I've also added not only the destination field, but now dates. So the dates that came out of that JSON file. And in order for me to present the dates in a human readable form, I'll close this file and I'll open up the JavaScript file. And here we're going to do a little more. I'm using code snippets to quickly enter in some code. But you can see what we're doing in this situation is I've got a field, I've got a function called format date. It takes in a date string, and what it does is it converts it to a different format, in this case, month, day, year. And now the function that takes the trips object is mapping both the trip.destination as well as formatting, using this format function, formatting the start date and the end date and presenting all that back. So I'll go ahead and close that, save the file, and now let's go back into the code. I have some CSS that I want to add to make the file look a little bit nicer, so I'll go ahead and add that now. And you can see that I've got very simple collection of CSS here. I'll use this myTrips list as my class, and that's what I'm going to reference in my page. So I'll add that here. And we'll go ahead and save this project. And let's run it. And so now we've got a much prettier view of the application. And this is a great time to show you the next part of the magic of DXtreme, and that's the ability to debug your application on the device. So what you can see here is I've got with me my iPhone, and I'm going to use an application called Courier. And what Courier does is it uses the QR code that you see on the screen, and if I use the camera that's built into the iPhone and hold it up to the screen, it will find the QR code and immediately deploy the application to the phone. And there it is. This is that same application now running on my device. You get a real sense for how the application will work while running on the actual hardware. A really wonderful part of our solution in DXtreme. So now we want to take the next step. We built this great application for the iPhone. How do I leverage that and use it for another part of my application? That's really what multi-channel applications are about. So let me show you the second application I was working on, and that's that Windows JS application. I'll set that as my startup project. Let me just show you where we are with that project now. So you can see I've got some tiles, and as I click into the My Trip section, you can see I've got a map that shows the places I've been and the amount of time I've spent in different locations. There's a section here for my trips, and that's the part I want to reuse. So let's go back into Visual Studio and leverage the work that we've done earlier with DXtreme. So I'm going to go into my views, and I'm going to add the existing objects that we've done, that we created earlier. So in DXtravel, under views, these are those 3 objects we were working with before, 3 files. I'll add them as a link, and they're now included as part of my solution. Now, as we look at the rest of my application, I'm going to go into default.html. I need to include those files in my application. So you can see here, I'll just simply uncomment out this line that connects the style sheet and the 2 other index files into my application. And then in my trip dashboards.html, I'm going to uncomment a line of code that renders that part of the page, the index part of the page. And then finally, I need to set a little bit of code here to connect to the trips object that we created earlier. Now let's run it. And as you can see, we're able to leverage the data access and some of the HTML5 functionality to build what looks like a native application on the iPhone and what looks like a native application on Windows 8. In addition to enabling JavaScript versions of Windows 8 controls, we're also providing a collection of XAML-based controls to help the WPF and Silverlight developers move forward. It's amazing, and it's a tool designed for the Visual Studio developer. We have even more exciting things planned to help you move to this multi-platform world, but before we talk about that, let me show you the XAML tools. So when I launch this application, you can see that we get a couple different demos. You have what we call real-life demos and control demos. And if I show you the control demos, you can see we launch in Visual Studio. We give you all the source code for a collection of different control demos. I'll run that, and you'll see that we have tiles that represent the different types of controls that we have, and this list gets bigger every day. An example is this message dialog module that if I click on, it shows you a modern user interface version of dialog modules. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into Visual Studio, and let's go back and run the real-life demo. This is an example of an application, more of a solution sample that connects everything and pulls it together into a better integrated experience, more of a real-life application. And so in this case, it's financial information, and you can see how different bank accounts are tracking. Of course, it's touch-enabled because it's a Windows XAML-based application, and information is flowing in asynchronously into the application as we scroll, and all of this source code made immediately available to you as a XAML developer for building Windows 8 applications. Today, we're announcing this new product line, codenamed DXtreme. And as you can see, Universal customers will get this product as part of their subscription. We thought about that, and then we thought, how do we thank you, our customers? We love our customers, and we really want to do something extreme for you. So we came up with the Extreme Offer. We want all of our customers to have the Windows 8 XAML controls. We wanted our enterprise customers to have DXtreme, and we wanted our Universal customers to get everything and some other goodies, and that's exactly what we're doing. So what should we price it at? Well, our competitors price their HTML5 tools at about $600 to $1,000. When we launch on December 3rd, we're giving all of our active paying platform subscribers, ASP.NET, Windows Forms, WPF, and Silverlight, our Windows 8 XAML controls. Plus, we'll give you an update of those controls in 2013. If you're an active DXperience Enterprise subscriber on our launch date, December 3rd, yes, we're launching on December 3rd, we'll give you our DXtreme tools plus one update in 2013. And if you are an active Universal subscriber, you'll get all of that, plus some other great technologies that we'll reveal at a later date. And while we plan to modestly increase prices for new and renewal subscribers in December, we will not increase your price for a year. We call that the Extreme Offer. We're giving away roughly $50 million of software to our customers, and that's our way of saying thanks for being a loyal DevExpress customer. And I want to reiterate, this offer is limited. You must be a paying subscriber by our launch date, December 3rd, 2012, to qualify. We also really want you to get a sneak peek at what's coming with our new product line. So today, we're making an early preview of DXtreme Enterprise available to you. We've got a lot more coming in the final release on December 3rd, but we wanted you to get your hands on the very early bits to start playing with this amazing new release. So right now, for our customers, you can download and get started. If you aren't yet a customer, we plan to make the bits more available in 10 days. Today, we've created a new product line with DXtreme, the next major piece of our DX2 vision, the essential tools for building solutions targeting Microsoft Surface, the iPad, the iPhone, and the web. Plus, we've announced the Extreme Offer, a gift for our customers that will deliver at launch on December 3rd. And finally, we're making our preview release available today to our customers and on September 27th for everyone else. Let's see what develops.